is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded podcast, the podcast where we talk all things table top gaming. My name is Jason.
And I'm Ant.
How are you doing this weekend?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm not bad, thank you very much. No James this week?
No James.
He's too busy, apparently.
Too busy walking out in the rain.
I know. What an idiot.
What a loser.
What a loser. All to drop off some birthday present as well, because, you know, there isn't 364 other days in the year. In fact, there's an extra day this year.
Podcast should be first, James.
Agreed. 100%. Gaming is life, remember.
This is why I'm here. This is why I'm the third man.
Exactly. Just think, if he wasn't here, or if you weren't here,
Which probably will be next week.
No problem. Well, yeah, but you're working next week. There's no way around that. But again, this is this whole purpose of this rolling 3-person cast thing, whatever.
Yeah, we can still bring our fans the content they need.
Exactly. That addiction, that sort of podcast fix of
mate.
Talking rubbish about board games. Speaking about talking rubbish, we're doing a topical episode.
Way! Another one. I obviously did a good job on the last one, so.
Well, you're still here. That's the key thing.
That's a good news.
So, yeah, you get your second topical. We're going to be talking about one of our favourite subjects, which is, of course, crowdfunding and the money that we certainly do spend and shouldn't.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Have you backed anything recently?
I have.
Yeah. Oh, dear. What have you been backing?
I did. Well, because we played it a few weeks ago and I really, really enjoyed it, I backed Robot Quest Arena.
The new Kickstarter.
The new one. And funny enough, I went all in, Jason.
Did you know? So we can talk about that in a little bit.
Exactly.
That's really good. Interesting. That's on GameFound, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah.
See, I'm also backing a few things.
Yes, I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, I'm backing Galactic Cruise. I'm backing.
You have,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I'm backing Meeple Inc. I'm backing.
I don't know much. I know of it, but I don't know much about Meeple Inc.
Meeple Inc. Let's be honest. The only thing that anyone knows about it, including me, is the fact that the game comes with a mini Kallax and some mini board games.
That's all I know. Yes. So is that the game, or
pretty much? You're designing board games, from what I understand.
Right. Okay.
Looks quite interesting. Definitely looking forward to it. And I'm not going to lie, I may have done the deluxe version to get the mini Kallax and the mini
You have
board
to,
games.
right? Otherwise, there's no point.
Exactly, yeah.
The Galactic Cruises, I cannot wait to play. I've heard so many good things about that.
Really looking forward to that. I may or may not have backed the Legacy campaign for Flashpoint. Yeah.
See, that I don't buy. You must have done.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All in?
Yeah. No, and I will talk about that later.
Okay.
And there's some other stuff as well. There's a night train thing or something that I'm backing as well.
I love it.
You know, that's how much attention I'm clearly paying to these games. But yeah, I'm backing way too much at the moment. But I would actually happily say I don't think any of them are on the all-in level.
Okay.
Which is kind of spurring on this conversation, I guess. But you know, the question really about why we're doing this is, of course, is all in even worth it anymore? Obviously, you have some opinions of a positive nature to say that it is because you've just gone all in on a game.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you'll give a reason why you've done that in a minute.
Yeah,
so are you ready for this topical, Ant?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Okay, so where do we start?
Where shall we start?
I'm just going to ask you outright.
Okay.
Do you think going all in on a crowdfunding campaign is even worth it in 2024? We know that you've done it in the past. We know that you've learnt some mistakes, that a lot of the stuff you get will never get played. Do you still think it is worth it in this year of 2024?
See, this is the question that's two-sided, really, isn't it? Because you've got your pros and cons with this topic. Well, hence why it's a topical. But I honestly, I can't give a straight answer at the moment because we need to talk why. There's two sides to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you on this side?
See, I'm far more leaning on the side of I don't think it's worth it.
Right.
As it is, you know, I sort of think back to years gone by where, you know, certain pledge levels would get you extra stuff. which usually you'll still get with the all-in.
Yeah.
Because the all-in now, for me, signifies base game and all available expansions that are available on day one. It doesn't so much include extra Kickstarter exclusives. It doesn't necessarily include, say, neoprene gaming mats, for example. They nearly always still end up as an add-on. And then later on, they'll maybe add an all-in plus pledge where they then include that. Whereas there was a time where all-in meant you were still getting a crackingly good value for all of this stuff and all of the extra bits, all of the stretch goals and all of this stuff that's going to turn up in a crate that's on top of its own container or something, it's crazy amounts of stuff.
Absolutely.
Whereas now I don't view that so much. You'll still get all of that stuff, but you won't get the good value that you used to have. You don't get as many Kickstarter exclusives. And I'm kind of generally sitting here asking the question of, if you've got expansions on day one, why is it not part of the game? If you feel the game needs it, to the point that it's got an expansion, it should be in the base game.
Base game, regardless.
If it's coming out at the same time. Whereas if you release the base game and then a year's time, you release an expansion, that's different.
Yeah.
Because that's with reaction to the game being out. But when you're releasing it at the same time, it should be part of the base game. So therefore, I usually don't buy them, because they're usually the expansions that are, frankly, guff.
Right.
In my opinion,
absolutely,
that's just personal opinion. But that's where I stand on all in. For me, I don't think it's as necessary or as viable, really, in 2024. There are some times that I will admit, and I'm sure we can talk about Robot Quest Arena. That there's a reason that you've gone all in on that. So do you want to talk about the campaign a little bit as to why you might have done it?
Right. So the reason I kind of done it with Robot Quest Arena on its own, the start is on Game Found. So for first off, it's affordable.
Yep.
Okay. It's a monthly payment for so long, but also I think we go all in, especially for me, is the theme of the game itself.
Right.
If Robot Wars themed board game, I think that which will be played by ourselves, be played by my gaming group, as well as my family, as well as the other hosts I do for other family members. I think what happens was, if they will play it and go, I want more.
Right.
So if I go all in, I can say, well,
more.
I have this here. I have these extra characters. I have these extra cards. I have this board where we can have 11 players play all at once if we have. Not that I ever have a house full of 11 players, but but the option is there.
Yeah.
So for me, the pro side of me going all in on this specific game is for that reason.
Right. Okay.
If it was a game I thought was just when I back something now, my first thing is, will it come to the table?
Yes.
Okay. Or how it will come to the table, how much of it will come to the table. So I don't go all in every time. I'm very much like you. It's a case of, will it come here, or will it be a theme people will like as well? I might like it, for example, but doesn't mean you will like it, or doesn't mean James will like it. So again, it's a gamble to not go all in on that, for example.
Yep.
Nemesis, for example, is another one I backed, the recent one, the third in the trilogy. I have not gone all in because I've learnt my lesson. For the previous ones have never come to the table, and I spent so much money on them. Yeah. So again, this is where we was trying to explain at the beginning. There's always the good and bad side to all in.
Of course.
But it's nice to have that option. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, obviously the new Nemesis is a good one. I know we've talked about it on the show before, but Nemesis again is that perfect example, because the all-in pledge it's just expansions, right? Yeah. I don't think there's anything else in there that's particularly limited edition to that pledge level.
But even then, like you mentioned about their pledges, but they have playmats and all that aren't part of that pledge. So, but I do believe there is a massive all-in pledge which has all the previous 2 games in there, and it's like $900 or something. It's like
it's crazy money, right?
Crazy money, but that is a lot of content for one arrival.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we joke about things turning up in a crate. It's like, well,
that literally would.
I was going to say that would have to, because of the sheer volume of stuff in there, right? So I could talk a little bit about the the Flashpoint Legacy of Flame game that's coming out. There was an all-in version on that. However, I've just gone for sort of like the mini all-in, if you like, which is basically all the new stuff. Yeah. So basically everything that was related to the Legacy of Flame game, I have gone in for. Yeah. Which, to be fair, wasn't that much more than the base game. Okay. All it really was is it turned my base game of Legacy of Flame into a deluxe version. Rather than being an all-in.
Because you previously owned the original stuff.
So, for example, the Legacy of Flame base game comes with 2 books that you use to make the maps.
Right, okay.
Whereas when you finish your campaign, the idea is you should still be able to use those maps in the normal Flashpoint. Right. That would annoy me using the books because all the others are boards. Right. So one of the upgrades was boards, actual boards. Instead of the books. So it was like, well,
makes sense.
Extra 30 quid for that? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 7 double-sided boards? Hell yeah.
Did you do that because you would get it and it would be like an irritation, like a knack for you that, I should have got the boards then? Or
do you know what? It kind of was, but it was more a case of I looked at it as I was expanding my standard Flashpoint game because it is now giving me more maps that I can use on that game, which I like to play a lot.
More replayability for an older game.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the only other upgrade that it comes with, as I'm sure you can appreciate, was 4 neoprene player mats.
Love me and that.
And they weren't particularly expensive. I think it was about 20 quid for the 4.
There you go.
So I was like, I'm not unhappy about that. I'm happy to pay that. Little bit of, deluxeification is fine for me. But I didn't view any of that as an all-in pledge. It's like, I'm getting all the air quotes new stuff. Yeah. But it's not that. Is that I've just deluxeified my stuff. Yes. That's what I've done. Is I've bought a deluxe version. Whereas there is an actual all-in, which is basically all of that stuff and then everything that's ever been made for Flashpoint. Yeah. Including the original base game, all of the expansions, which is really good because some of them are out of print. Yeah. I don't have all the expansions for it. So I should really be looking at
So this is your opportunity to get them.
Add them in, but I'm not going to. Because it's like they're all at retail at the end of the day. They're all going to go back to retail. So
and then question it whether you're going to bring it to the table as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because you've got a legacy. Yeah. And then by the time that's done, people might be tired of playing Flashpoint for a while. Exactly. So those expansions will sit there for a year, really, won't they?
Exactly. And, Flashpoint doesn't get played as regularly as I would like it to be played. That's mainly because I still haven't.
That's all our games, Jason.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's being dealt with somewhat because I've sold a lot of my games. The rotation is a lot quicker now, which is good. But yeah, I didn't want to go all in on it. And it was the same with Galactic Cruise, in fact. Like, they did... one thing I'm really liking about Galactic Cruise, and I kind of wish more publishers would do it, is they've come out... I've listened to a few interviews with them, and they've sort of come out and go, look, we know most Kickstarters or crowdfunding will come along, they'll go, this is your retail version, this is a deluxe version, this is an all-in version with all the bells and whistles. They've just sort of come out and go, it's one game. The retail version is the deluxe version. Yeah. Everything you get in this game, in retail or on Kickstarter, is exactly the same. Nothing is going to change. We have gone to Kickstarter because...
You want it sooner rather than later.
We need it to get it going, and this is your chance to get it at a cheaper price, which is another thing you used to get with Kickstarter a lot. You got a good value, a lot off of the retail price. That has changed in recent years. You more often than not pay more than what you would at retail once you add on your shipping and all of that. They've come along and gone, no, our thing is we want you to be able to get it at the same or slightly less than what you would if it went to retail, including your shipping. And I like that. And you will get it early. They've promised that you get it earlier. So that's great. So I've gone for it through that because otherwise... I'll just wait till it goes to retail and I get it cheaper.
But you have also been eagerly anticipating this game. So this is another reason why, again, you've kickstarted it or all-in it, whatnot.
And like I said, if it was going to be exactly the same price or more expensive than retail, I'd probably just wait a little bit longer and wait for it to go to retail to get it cheaper. Yeah. But the fact that it is coming cheaper through that is a good reason for me to back it. Why didn't I go all in? Because there is an all-in version, comes with expansions. Because every game I have, I find that the expansions just either don't get used, they don't get used in full, or they're just complicate the game more. And I feel that this game's already going to be quite heavy as it is, without adding in more. And again, it goes back to that thing of you're releasing these expansions on the day that you're releasing the game. If they were integral to the game, they would be in the game.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're not needed. It's a waste of my time, waste of my money. Doesn't give me anything extra as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So not really bothered about that. Didn't feel the need to go all in. I still don't feel the need to go all in. I'd like someone to prove me wrong, but I think it's going to be an uphill struggle if you do try and prove me wrong on that.
But you've done pretty well to hold off with for that.
Yeah.
So, because I know back in the day you'd have a big, massive FOMO about it, and like I need to be all in for it. So, it sounds like you've learned your lesson from previous Kickstarters to not bother with that.
I mean, I like to think that it's, I'm older, I'm wiser. I have learnt my lessons,
and you're still getting the game at the end of the day. Yeah. It's not like it's.
I'm here for the game.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, I'm not here for all the extra stuff, really. But I just find myself questioning. It's like, did I ever make the mistakes of going all in on these games? Power Rangers, here's the grid. I went all in on that. Why? I've never used much more than the base game.
But because you are a massive fan of it, you have to, don't you? I mean, it's part of your. I mean,
if it came along
passion
now,
for it, isn't it?
100%, I wouldn't. I'm definitely wise enough to go, no, there's no need for this. So, like I said, for me, I find it very hard to say that I do still think that going all in on these games is worth it, because there's nothing selling me on it anymore. I sort of look at your Robot Quest arena. Of course, with yourself, was there any like bonuses to going all in, really? Because I'm assuming it's because there's new stuff. Obviously, you're getting the old stuff and the new stuff in one go, which I did with Dynogenics. I got the second print run of that, so I got the expansion and the original game. But again, the all in on that didn't give me anything else other than the fact of it was the only way to get the base game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So there was a good reason for me to go all in on that, because I couldn't physically get the base game any other way.
Yeah.
It's not available in retail. That's a good reason to buy all in.
Absolutely.
If it's the only way. But yeah, was that basically the gist with Robot Quest Arena?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's one of the aspects for it. But the problem is that obviously we have our gaming nights with the three of us.
Yeah.
My other gaming group are sometimes, when they do eventually come over, is 5+ players, maybe 6 sometimes. So one of the reasons to go all in was to have the extra characters as well, because I think the base game alone, which you can get of Rebel Quest Arena just from anywhere, only comes with the 4 players. And I hate players being left out. I'd rather have something here to say, okay, you can actually join in and you can actually be part of it.
Yeah.
Because I hate just having that person sit out for a while. Right, you wait and then you play the loser or whatever sort of thing. So
that odd game where you've invited 10 people and then suddenly an 11th
person shows up. Oh, damn it. That's one of the reasons. But another reason for me to go all in was back to what you were saying with Flashpoint, going and getting the earlier stuff that I missed out on. So another one I backed 2 years ago on Kickstarter, this one, so I paid up front for this, was my favourite game of all time, Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yep.
So season 3 and 4 is been backed because season 1 and 2 is out, but they also did a add-on which is part of a package that I completely missed, very hard to get hold of, but the only way to get it is via going all in. So that's another reason why I had to go all in for that. We still have, I kind of went all in on that one as well because I have a regular club or group for Cthulhu Death May Die, so I know I will get my money's worth out of that all in. So I think that one and Robot Quest Arena is the only ones I've gone all in ever. Okay. Everything else has been bits and bobs, or I've managed to get expos or anything like that, or whatever. So.
So you've actually done better than me then. Like,
well, no, because
I've gone all in on a lot.
No, because I kind of went all in on Nemesis, but it was again in bits
over a period of time
because I was late to the board game thing. From everyone, I was the noob of it, so I was only I knew of Nemesis, but I never knew what Kickstarter was. I never knew what Game Plan was. So again, finding this all out, it was already out, so I had to do bits and bobs via eBay. So it was never really a all in, but I did manage to get everything.
Yeah,
but the different way.
Okay, that's fair enough. So, like in your opinion, what would be something that would actually attract you to an all-in pledge where you would think, yeah, okay, that's actually worth it?
That's interesting because...
I mean, neoprene gaming mats, obviously, that's just a win, isn't it?
That's an automatic win, obviously. For me, again, I'm kind of repeating myself here. It's the fact if I will bring it to the table enough.
Yeah.
Is because is the only reason for me now to go all in. I just think that if it's a theme I love, then obviously I'm going to go all in. If it's something, like I said, sci-fi horror is one of my favorites. Well, if it's something I really think I'm going to love, and then obviously that will be a reason to go all in. But apart from that, I can't. Like, I went to Expo last year with yourselves and Bored Stupid, and I was so eager to get all these games and all their extra bits and whatnot, and I held back so much because I just thought to myself, all right, I'm going to pay £180 for this board game with all the all-in stuff right here and there. Yeah. But will it come to the table? Will I get 180 quid out of it?
Yeah.
Do you know? And this is where we're getting at now. This is the problem with having too many games, with too much all-in stuff.
Yeah.
Because, all right, I'll get the core to the table, but I'm not going to get an extra box of characters to the table. They'll just sit there and collect dust. They'll never get painted or anything.
Yep.
So it's super tough with something of a question like that, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I sort of look at my own collection as well. And we've played it recently, in fact. But while it was never a crowdfunding thing, I view my collection of Legendary as an all-in.
Yeah.
Because I bought everything for that. And yeah, again, it's too much. While we are playing it a lot more recently, the setup and the teardown is a real killer. And, I'm happy that I have it all, but there's expansions being released now, and I just don't own them, and I have no desire to own them, because it's like, I'd have to find more storage. I'd have to sift through more stuff to to play the game and what have you.
And these board game companies, they're clever at the end of the day. They know what is going to attract us to go all in. For example, last year there was a zombie side that C1 released, which is based in old Japan. Yeah. I think it's called White Tiger or something like that. But for some reason, 2 of their add-ons involve Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, because...
There we go.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to go all in now and get those guys because just Ninja Turtles are in it, Yeah. They're super clever about it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the whole idea of the all-in pledge really is it is a business decision. It's like, this is how we're going to sell more.
Absolutely.
Because, we're not going to make the money we really want to make on just the base game, whereas if we put all of this stuff in there, it will help.
Yeah.
And I think I can't fault them on that. At the end of the day, it is a business decision, but you are preying on the people that suffer with FOMO,
yes,
and stuff like that, including me. I'm the first to say I'm one of the worst for that. But yeah, I am finding it a lot easier to say no.
Yes,
now
recently, yes.
And it's mainly because I'm looking at these campaigns, and the first thing I do, and I still hold my hands up to this, the first thing I do is what comes in the all-in pledge.
Yes.
I immediately go past
That's
everything
the first
else.
Thing you go for, is
I go straight for the all-in.
Okay.
What do I get if I give you everything?
Yeah.
And more often than not, I literally look at it and go, okay, what do I get in the retail pledge? Basically exactly the same minus this, and this. Okay, well, what does that do?
What's that going to give me?
Why is that stuff important? Why is it worth an extra £100, £200?
Yeah.
And that's where I start finding that it's actually not worth it, because you're paying so much more for that. And I feel that all-in pledges, to a degree, actually have a negative effect on the campaign itself,
right? As
well, which I don't know if you would want to talk about it, but
yeah, go for it.
I sort of look at it and go, when they bring these games, more often than not, they bring them to the crowdfunding campaign. They are visually, if not physically, complete. They are ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to press the button on printing. When you start doing all-in stuff and stretch goals and things like that, it's like they're adding stuff into the campaign which may or may not be finished.
Yeah.
Which means, well, hang on a minute, we've gone from ready to press the button to go, get it printed and get it shipped, to, well, now we've got to wait for all of this stuff to be completed. We've got to send this to the artist.
Because you've added more stretch goals
we've got to do that. And stretch goals for me come hand in hand with campaigns that have an all-in pledge. And usually you'll get this special, well, I say usually, hasn't happened for a while from what I've seen, but you used to get stretch goals which were allotted to certain pledge levels.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, hang on a minute, now you're holding up my game because this guy or
because this guy's gone all in, but you haven't.
It's hypothetical, obviously, but this guy has gone all in, and because we've reached this stretch goal, I've now got to wait for this miniature to be sculpted, tested, balanced with the rest of the game. It's like that's months of work.
Yeah.
That I'm waiting for my game because this guy's gone all in. And it's like, I'm literally just sitting here going, I've got no resentment against the guy, but it is just sort of like, why are you holding up my stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
For this, and
because then you got to wait another month or so.
Exactly, it's another negative effect for me on the campaigns. It's like,
and be honest, how often do you use a stretch goal or an extra promo thing for your gaming? Recently,
do you know promo cards or something like that? They'll usually be put in the game because they're there and they're easy to use. Actual stretch goal stuff, I can't think of any.
Right?
You know, I sort of look back at your collection of Marvel United, for example.
And look what happened to that.
The only reason we ever used any of that stretch goal stuff is because that's my favourite character and that's in the stretch goal box. So I want to play as that. Wasn't because I'd read the cards, wasn't because it was a better character. Or because
it was a stretch goal.
It's because it happened to be my favourite character and I was playing your collection.
Yeah.
You know, we had Kiri over, she played Squirrel Girl. Did anyone else ever play Squirrel Girl?
No.
Of course they didn't. Because it's Squirrel Girl. You know, it's like, there's a few people that like Deadpool. Okay, Deadpool might get played with.
It's fine.
Yeah. But, you know, for the most part, and it's the same with Marvel Legendary, everyone knows the Avengers. Everyone plays as the Avengers, and the Avengers are in the damn base game.
Yeah.
I don't need the extra stuff.
Yeah.
So, stretch goals, waste of time. You know, they're nice. Don't get me wrong. It's lovely to get what is ultimate. I'm going to use the air quotes of free stuff. Yeah. It's not free. No. It's factored into the production costs.
Because they know they're going to get that goal, aren't they?
Exactly.
So it's already been done. It's already been made.
So, you know, stretch goals, as I said, they're not really to do with the all-in, but they are.
They're still
to
part
do with
of
the all-in.
Yeah.
And like
the reason why you go all in, isn't it?
Exactly. Because, you know, you will get a lot of campaigns which have stretch goals. But if you're getting the base version of the game, you ain't entitled to those stretch goals. No. Oh, but if you go to this all-in level, you get everything that we make. And, we know we're going to make at least X amount, which means we've already got this stuff planned, but not made.
So we'll make you wait longer now.
So we'll make you wait longer. You know, I'd love to see a campaign that sort of says, oh, we're going to deliver here. They only just do enough to actually fund. It was like, well, actually, because we haven't got to worry about this stretch goal stuff, we can now deliver 3 months earlier.
Yeah.
Because that stuff's ready. But we were expecting this much more, which means we were factoring in more design time that we now don't need. You know, it's never going to happen, let's be honest. But I bet it could. Does
a hype for a game ever make you go all in? Especially if it's one that you've been waiting for a while.
See, I genuinely thought that Galactic Cruise was gonna
because you've been talking about that game for ages. So
yeah, I had a lot of hype for Galactic Cruise. So I'm actually quite grateful that they've sort of gone, well, no, there's nothing extra in it other than these expansions, and that's if they're, of all things, part of an all-in. That's the one thing I know I can always say, don't care, don't need it. It's expansions. I'm only interested in playing base games at the moment because why would I want to expand a game that I've never played, never seen, never even touched, and yet you're asking me for more money to expand that game?
Yeah.
I'm able to look past that now and go, don't need it, don't want it.
And sometimes it'll come to retail when you do want it, though. Yeah. So
you know, and upgrading games. Going back to Flashpoint, upgrading, that normally will sway me.
But then you have a reason for that because it's one of your favourite games.
Yes.
So I would want to upgrade my favourite games in all fairness as well. So I see where you're coming with that.
Yeah. If I didn't know the game, for example, it wasn't Flashpoint, I am a sucker for neoprene mat, as everyone knows. I'm a sucker for box inserts and things like that.
But you probably wouldn't have got the other player mats.
Exactly. I may not have gone, you know, air quotes, all in on something because I don't necessarily want all the upgrades.
No.
But if those upgrades are available as add-ons, I will probably do the add-ons. If they're not available as add-ons and they're not going to be made available at retail, then I will be more swayed to going for the all-in.
Yeah.
If they are going to be made to come to retail, I'll buy it at a later date.
Yeah.
If I like the game. Because I don't need the upgrades on the first play.
No.
Scythe, really good example of that. The majority of my game is not upgraded. I don't feel like I needed the metal coins because I've got a generic set. I didn't originally have the upgraded
resource pieces,
stuff like that. I eventually got them because people were playing my copy a lot. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's give this a little bit of deluxification.
Yeah, absolutely.
But have I bought anything else for it? No, not really. Nice box insert.
Yeah.
That's because the one that it came with was rubbish because it didn't have one.
But again, you saying about the Scythe expansions or deluxe pieces, they're available to get now. We don't have to get them through a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And that's something most board games should have or have an option for.
Yeah, I agree.
Without having to get it scalped on eBay because I want a specific card or whatever it is.
I'm now stuck in a situation where I've obviously got your old copy of Marvel United.
Yes, yeah.
I feel that game can't be played without a
playmat.
Without a playmat. You can't get them. Can't get them for love nor money. So
I kind of feel bad selling one now.
So no, don't feel. I'm happy I've got it.
Yeah.
So I will eventually get a mat, even if it's me making a custom one for myself.
Right.
It'll still be cheaper than buying an official one second hand. But yeah, it's kind of one of them things. Like that's the kind of thing that would sell me to upgrading a pledge, but not necessarily going all in.
Yeah, because you feel the need. It has to have that to play with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of mandatory to have that, isn't it?
I would argue if it's mandatory to play with it, which I think Marvel United is,
it definitely is.
Should have included a board.
At
least a board.
Yeah,
It didn't necessarily need the neoprene mat. That's an upgrade.
But if it's half the size of the mat, should have had it. Yeah,
it should have had a board, 100%. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of the hardest person really when it comes to trying to convince me that all in is worth it, because more often than not, in my eyes, it just isn't.
No,
it's not going to be a game that's going to see that everything on the table. No. Earth is another one. I didn't go all in on that because the majority of that was get a few extra cards here, a few extra cards there. I was like, what, in a stack of 500 cards, I'm going to notice 10 new ones?
Yeah, of
course I'm not. I might see that over like a 4-game period.
Yeah,
if I'm lucky. Not necessary.
No.
And that's ultimately it's promo cards, isn't it? Really, which if I love the game, maybe I'll try and buy it a later date. But I don't think it's worth it.
No, I mean, I'll be honest. When I did the whole thing with Distilled, I mean, I didn't go all in, but I just bought some few upgrades. It wasn't necessary for the price they were, and they were really expensive.
Yeah.
So it's a shame how your FOMO kicks in at that point, and you think to yourself, I'm going to need this because I need the table presence. I want to bring people to this. And then you look at it and go, I could have just done with what was in the box. The wooden blocks or the cardboard money. Just didn't need that upgrade.
Yeah. So we'll use Distilled as an example. I have now bought, other than the metal coins and all of that, which is the deluxification stuff.
Yeah.
I've now got the expansion that came with that original all-in pledge. And do you know what? Yeah, it changes the game a little bit. Not a great deal.
Right. So
the extra price it would have cost
just to put it
it would not have been worth it. Even close to it.
Really?
It's an expansion that I'm glad is in there and it's now in there permanently. But if it wasn't in there, I don't think I would miss it.
Yeah.
Interesting to see because they've now got a new expansion which is coming out, which apparently adds extra mechanisms. But that again wasn't part of that original campaign.
Right.
So my argument now is, okay, that is clearly a response to something. Someone has mentioned something
and they've gone back to it.
You've gone and created it. That is what an expansion should be. It shouldn't be something that comes out at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's, in my eyes, the biggest problem with All In. It's like, it's nearly always, we've come up with 7 expansions for this game. It's like, this sounds like you've designed this game originally and gone, this is way too much. We need to take stuff out, but let's not destroy it because it works.
Yeah.
And we'll just shove that in expansion because someone will buy it.
Someone will buy it, yeah.
And that's why it doesn't. Again, that's my personal opinion, but I've talked a hell of a lot, so I apologise.
No, that's fine.
What other things have you got to say?
That's the point of a topic.
Have you got any questions about it or anything like that?
No, I mean, is there ever like an all-in you missed that you did want at all? Or
good question. I don't think there has been.
No.
To be honest,
it's literally the same with me because I've I've thought back about the games I could have done it, and I just, pretty much say what you've said. It's just there was no need to do that whatsoever.
No.
And I've definitely learnt my lesson from previous ones.
It's just... If you'd asked me that a few years ago, with the Power Rangers one, for example. Now, I did go all in on the first campaign.
Yeah.
There was a second one as well. And I didn't go all in on that because I couldn't afford it at the time. And I really hated that I couldn't.
Mm. I
eventually got those expansions, and they did nothing.
Really?
Absolutely nothing to the game. To the point that, I've sold very little of it, but I have sold them.
Yeah.
Because they were just that unneeded in that game. I was like, do you know what? No, I don't need them. So I did originally regret that.
Yeah.
I regretted not going all in on that. And there's been, I'm sure, a couple of times where FOMO has sort of kicked in and gone,
yeah,
you should have done that. You should have done that. You should have done it. Even now, I could probably go on a Kickstarter list of games I'm expecting, and sort of be like, oh, I wish I'd up my pledge on that. I wish I'd done this. And,
but with these big companies going to GameFound that we mentioned about Simon and stuff like that as well, and now you can afford the all-in. Does that tempt you at all now to maybe go all in because I can pay £20 a month for it for so many months?
It's definitely more dangerous.
Yes.
For me, it's definitely more dangerous. However, I think I've got enough monthly outgoings.
No, that's true. But for you or other gamers, do you think this is more of an opportunity for them to do it now? Do you think?
I do think it is, and I think that's why they've done it. I think that's why that is a feature. It's a very dangerous feature.
Yeah.
Because people can easily lose track of how much they're spending each month. Like, oh yeah, well, I'll sign up to this because it's only cost me £50 a month. Excellent. Oh, there's another campaign. Oh, that's all right. I can whack it on this £50 a month. Well, hang on a minute. Now that's £100 a month.
Yeah.
And as we said, GameFound is getting more popular. There's more games going over there, which means I think we'll see more deluxification, more big campaigns, and it ain't going to be £50 a month. It's going to get to the point where it's like, well, you go all in on a Call Me or Not campaign, and you're looking £600 to £900.
Yeah,
that's going to be £100 to £200 a month.
Well, this is the thing with the monthly installments now, because GameFound usually does maybe 6 to 9 months, depending on when the game's coming out. So I went back and rebacked some expansions for He-Man.
Okay,
which I thought will come to the table. So I thought I'll go back because we play it roughly, fair enough. And the issue was when I pledged the monthly payments, it was only within a couple of months.
Yeah.
So I had to spend an absorbent amount of money a month now because it's not done in 9 months. It's done in only 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So now that 9 month payment is a huge chunk of 3 months. Yeah, exactly.
Shorter,
So that's something to be very wary of as well when it comes to big companies moving over to this GameFound thing, going for all in.
I definitely feel that it is a very dangerous thing. I'm not even sure I fully agree with the idea of paying in monthly installments, making it easier for people to pay for something that they still might not even get.
Yeah,
because it's still crowdfunding. That's true. Yeah, it's still a risk. You can't go to a casino.
Yeah.
And pay in monthly installments. It's like, no, you bet what you've got. And crowdfunding, in my honest opinion, should be exactly that. You live within your means.
Yeah.
There's no shade on you. There's no shade on anyone who does use that feature, because I'm sure I'm going to use that feature. In fact, I probably am on Meeple Link, because that is on GameFound. I've already got £200 to £300 coming out of my account on Kickstarter, so I might have to.
Damn you, Flashpoint.
Exactly. So, it's definitely a very good feature. It is a very dangerous feature. I think people have to be very careful in what they do with it. And that's coming from someone who is terrible with money.
Yeah.
I'm one of the worst for, relying too much on credit at certain points. Especially if there's a game coming out and it's still 2 weeks to payday.
Yeah.
So, that's fine. I get paid in 2 weeks. I'll whack it on the credit card and then pay it off, forgetting that I've probably already done that 2 or 3 times. And then sort of payday comes. It's like, it's all right. I'll pay it all off. I've got no expendable money. But hang on a minute. There's a game coming out next.
Exactly.
I'll put that on the credit card.
It's a vicious circle.
It's a vicious circle. And I think there's no, from what I've seen anyway, I've not looked into it, so I don't want to say for certain this is the case, but I don't think there's any way of going on to GameFound and looking at your, like, I'll say wallet.
Yeah.
Of, right, what am I paying for monthly at the moment? You know, does it give me a breakdown of all the things that I'm paying for, how much longer they've got, how much I'm paying for it, you know, so that I can make an educated decision as like, okay, I can afford an extra 70 to 80 pounds per month. Because, you know, especially if you've got families, because that's who it's going to help a lot. I think, yeah, it's far too easy to stick something on credit.
Yeah, most definitely.
And games
very
are
dangerous.
Not cheap, especially if they're going to
especially all-ins.
Especially all-ins. I might be a bit more tempted to use that on some, you know, like an expensive retail edition.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you're looking at retail editions, they're usually 70 to 80 pounds now, which means your all-ins are going to be hitting that 200 plus pounds. To have to pay that over 3 months.
Yes, exactly.
It's a bit much.
Damn you, He-Man.
Damn you, He-Man. Damn you.
But no, we're being very mostly negative on this topic, but there are still a couple of all-ins that I am looking forward to and wait. You know, I'm can't wait to have. So there is an upside to it because obviously that was a while ago when I backed it. So to finally get it, you know, is.
So which ones are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I've only got two, but one of them is definitely Cthulhu Death May Die.
Of course,
I can't wait for that because I played the demo of it at Essen 2 years ago, so it's been 2 years since the pledge went.
That was when they announced it at Essen,
Essen just before. And again, this was a game I thought that Simon had forgot all about, but no, we're going to give you...
Weren't you on the way there? And I think I messaged you and said, do you know this is coming out?
Yeah, pretty much. I was literally boarding the plane when you did that, and I nearly dropped my bag, honestly. It was just, my God. And the fact that they announced, there's going to be a demo there as well. So, you know, getting to play it as well.
Because they proper kept that quiet.
Yeah. And the fact that, like I said, that they re-releasing stuff that was so hard to get and is very expensive on eBay at the moment. You know, we can get it at the fraction of the price if you go all in now. So, again, I seriously cannot wait. The guys I play with cannot wait either because we're coming towards the end of, we're towards the very end of the season 2 Lost episodes. So we need our fix soon when hopefully it arrives in May this year.
Oh dear.
Because it's called Death May Die, fingers crossed. So I am looking forward to that.
Right before Expo.
Right before Expo, yeah. So, but then obviously Robot Quest Arena is going to be another year or so. So I'll most likely will look for... I did love that game. So it made me feel like I need to go all in on that. But it's literally nothing else has gone all in. Everything has always been bit by bit or... I can probably pick up at an expo somewhere. I think even Marvel United did that at one point, like with the recent one they did. Half of it was only Kickstarter exclusive, but the rest you could get at retail. Yeah. So there is another reason not to go all in because, again, you can still just get the Kickstarter on Kickstarter and get all the other stuff on retail.
Yeah,
so,
I mean that's the key thing here is when I ask myself the question, is going all in worth it? As much as I'm sitting here saying, no, it's not. No, it's not worth it. If it's a campaign that is giving you exclusive stuff, it's not going to be going to retail. Of course, it's worth it, at least in part.
Yes.
Because even if it's not something that, you know, when it turns up, you don't find yourself interested in it or you don't think it's worth it, the resale value on something that was exclusive is crazy.
Yes.
You know, even if you keep the base game and sell all the extra stuff, it pays for your base game. So in that instance, value-wise, yes. Of course it's worth it. But you know, if it's just giving you some expansions that you can buy later, just buy them later.
Yeah.
Once you know you enjoy the game. Yeah, unless they do some kind of video on it or something and say, this is what the expansion does, and you sit there going, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Adds your favourite mechanic, then go for it. But do you know, like I say, I for me personally, it's not worth it. I do think it has merit. I think it is worth it for some people. But I just think for the most part, the worthiness of All In is shrinking to the point that I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, as we've gone through this episode, like I said, at the start of it, I was very 50-50. I think you've kind of swayed me now, Jason, to agree with you on this. I mean... I only have 2.
Oh God, you mean I've actually successful?
Well, no. Again, like I said, we've brought it up, and like I said, I only have 2 that I'm really looking forward to. Everything else, I don't really need to. I've learned my lesson with All In as well, so to me, it definitely isn't. All, you know, I think the last one I did was, like I said, we mentioned Distilled, and it's not been worth it at all. They're just sitting there now collecting dust. I could have saved myself 50 quid at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's 50 quid, you know, just on components, not a board game. Board games, that could have bought me another board game, that 50 quid.
That's the problem. You introduce games to some idiot like me who just loves spending money. It's like, well, he really likes this game. Well, I might as well sell mine then because this idiot's going to go and buy it now.
This is it. Now I can sell mine.
Yeah. I swear that's why people use me. I don't actually have friends. They're just sort of like, well, I don't really want to buy this, so
Jason can own it now.
I'll get that idiot to buy it, or I'll have to buy it initially, but then I can sell it.
That's it.
You know, get my money back.
So no, yeah, I think I'm swaying across the side of I don't think there is much worth it now, unless it's a theme you are totally devoted to.
Yeah.
Then 100% go all in. But apart from that, no, don't bother.
Be logical with your money is probably the ultimate thing,
yeah,
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Can you afford to go all in? Yes. Do you think it's worth it? Does it really matter?
And will it come to the table enough as well?
Yeah.
You know,
I think the only exception to what I'm about to say will be actually if you say that how devoted you are to the theme. But if you can't afford to buy an all-in pledge outright, I don't think you should do it.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I know you've just done it. And it's nothing to do with me, but I don't personally think that to me is not living within your means. But if it is a theme that you are dedicated to, or you are 150% certain that game is going to be used in every way, then it's worth buying, no matter whether you can afford it or not, using that credit ability. Just don't go racking up massive credit card bills for a game, because at the end of the day, it's only a game.
It's only a game.
It is only a game. So, is there anything else you want to talk about with regards to the all-in problem?
I was just going to bring up one more question for you.
Go for it.
So, have you ever done a all-in and paid for it flat out, and then towards its near arrival, you don't want it, and you've had to resell it or anything at all? Or
it's only recently that I've been reselling games. But there has indeed been games that I have gone all in on and regretted it before it started to arrive. I think one of the ones I had was, and I only sold it recently actually, which was the Hunger Games, The Mockingjay.
Yes.
I was obsessed with the Hunger Games films when they were out, and the game wasn't released till well after the films have been released. But it had all of the characters, and you got the stretch goals of more characters in the sculpts and stuff. The game was awful. It was a version of Risk at best. The miniatures weren't great. But even when that turned up, I was just sort of like, do you know what? I'm kind of, because obviously the game wasn't crowdfunded till maybe 2 years after the last movie.
Okay.
And then of course it took a year and a half to actually turn up.
Come to the table, yeah.
So 3.5 years of no Hunger Games movies, no nothing.
Yeah, the hype had been and gone, basically. The hype had been and gone.
This game can go straight on the sell pile. I think I played it twice in total.
Really?
And it's now gone. So,
Yeah.
So that's one that definitely springs to mind, and that's only because obviously I've recently sold it. But
did you go all in for the He-Man Battleground thing?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So that's another one that's gone, isn't
it? Fields of Eternia.
Fields of Eternia, that's it.
I went all in on that. Never played it. Didn't even unwrap some of the cards.
Oh wow, I didn't know
on that. So that's gone. I regretted that, but it's mainly because I just couldn't be bothered to learn it.
Yeah.
And we'd obviously played.
But did the overabundance of the all-in put you off that at all?
It kind of did. Because there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you had boxes of it, dude.
Lots of stuff. A lot of miniatures. Which, again, is back of a time that I was really high on He-Man.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first reboot of Revelations had just come out.
Right.
And it was, oh my God, this is amazing. All of these characters are
the
in
hype had kicked in again.
If I get this, I get the Snake Mountain upgrade. And if I get this, I get this, King Hiss and all these other characters. Why?
Yeah.
The main characters that anyone's ever going to want to play with are in the base game.
Yeah.
So, I did. I got suckered into that one. That has also gone. So, never played.
Never played.
Barely. I made a box insert for it and everything. So yeah, there's quite a few, I would say, that I've definitely felt that way. What about you? Have there been any? I mean, obviously Nemesis. I know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that, and again, Marvel United as well. I paid stupid amount of money for add-ons that never even saw the light of day. Again, very much like you said, with the cards still being sealed and everything, and ones that I was like so looking forward to, but players had played the 2 base games, which is the X-Men version and the Avengers core base version, and then after that no one wanted to touch afterwards. I think they were just all out on those 2 core games because you get a fair deal from it. I mean, the add-ons are just literally, like you said earlier, that you to play a specific character. But I'm kind of gutted about that, because that was one I went all in, and then I was on the verge of doing the newest one. I think they're doing a multiverse one coming soon.
Yes.
So close to doing that, because again, Planet Hulk was coming involved, Civil War was getting involved, Galactus was getting involved. I'm like, oh my God, I really want to do it. And I don't know how, don't ask me how, but I just did not do it in the end. And again, it was all just due to the case that it never came to the table. So many boxes of it just sat there. And I supported the hell out of that game.
I originally, when that multiverse campaign came out, I backed it.
Yeah.
And I was not all in, because that was all of the previous versions and all of the stretch goals and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy money. But I was nearly all in on the new stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but I then eventually chopped and changed my back on it quite a bit. Yeah. And I settled for a $1 pledge, because it was at the time that I'd managed to talk myself out of going and backing campaigns for more than $1. Because then it lets me make a more educated decision closer to the time that it'll be delivered, which is exactly what happened with that. I backed it at $1, and when it came to the pledge fulfillment, and they were closing the pledge manager, that's when I was like, I don't need this.
No.
And I saved myself hundreds of pounds by doing that, which is my usual tactic nowadays. As much as I would love to support far more creators, what I do find myself doing now is I'm supporting a lot more campaigns with just $1, and then making that educated decision a bit later.
I think that's the safer bet nowadays, isn't it? Yeah. But then, like you said, mate, it's the before we were doing the first stuff with our Kickstarter pledges back in the day, times weren't as tough as cost of living and stuff now and whatnot. So again, that factor of, do I pay the £150 when I could feed my children with that or something? You know what? It's just
put fuel in the car.
Fuel in the car and everything as well. It's another one that sort of is helpful. I hate to say in that sense, but it's helping me not pledge as much.
100%.
So,
what we all need is need jobs that get us $100,000 a month.
This is it, mate.
Then I'll happily back. Every campaign.
We all in everything then. But
don't know what this campaign is. Well, when did this turn up? Well, I don't know. Probably
all in, done.
Only cost me £500. It's fine.
Done.
All in, done and dusty. But there you go. The all-in problem or the not problem, whatever
your opinion is.
Your opinion is.
You've heard ours.
As always with these topical episodes that we do, we've not solved any issues. We've not answered any questions. We've just talked rubbish for an hour.
But we've had both ends of the story, haven't we? That's the part of it, isn't it? So, and then people can make up their own decision after the episode's done, really.
Exactly. And I think it all boils down, as I said, to what can you afford to do?
Yeah.
If you can afford to do it easily, do it. Why not? Even if you don't like it, you can resell it. But if you can't afford to do it, really think about whether you need it.
Absolutely. Think about your options.
Exactly. But there you go. And another topical is
another one done, mate.
Bag. And we didn't have James here disagreeing with me at every single opportunity. Obviously, being someone who doesn't use Kickstarter, it's probably a good thing that he wasn't here. I think he'd be kind of sat there either very quiet or disagreeing with everything I said, just for the principle.
That is true.
So I will get him to back a Kickstarter all in one day. I was so close with Nemesis.
I know, that's my bad. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll let you off.
Although, in fairness, if you'd have told me he was doing it, I would have not done it.
I would not have trusted him to actually do it.
Oh, fair enough.
To be honest, I'm kind of glad you are, because I really want to play it as well.
Cool.
So there you go.
Well, it's happening, mate.
Let us know what you think about the all-in problem or the lack of a problem. So, whichever your opinion is, let us know on all of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and we've got our Discord server as well. Links to all of those are in the podcast description. Anthony, you've been looking at our Instagram and Facebook a bit more recently.
I have, yes.
You're posting a bit more for us, aren't you?
I am trying to get us on that bandwagon, mate.
Indeed. So there you go. Positive vibes from this podcast. Someone who's actually capable of remembering to post something. So
until Jason gets annoyed that I post a game on there he doesn't like, then I'm probably out of a job. So
yeah.
So I'm all right for now. Anyway,
that's all right. Just don't start posting Dune Imperium and all that kind of rubbish.
It's all right. I'll leave it on my page for that. Don't worry.
That's fine. You post whatever you like because there's people out there that like that awful game for some obscure.
Don't mock it till you play it, Jason.
But there you go. Yep, it's nice to see our social media actually doing something. So thank you very much for doing that.
That's all right, mate.
I will try and remember to pop in every now and again to actually check it. And,
thumbs it up,
and reply to some comments and things.
True, yeah.
See, that I do quite a lot.
You do, yes.
I do that quite a lot because I get notifications of that.
Yeah,
but it's just reminding myself to actually take a picture of a game that we're playing instead of getting so excited I just want to sit down and play it. There you go. Yeah. Once again, thank you very much for joining us for another episode of the Meeple Minded podcast. Especially this one, topical. We're going to go away and play some games.
We are.
Hopefully James will be here next week. Otherwise, it'll be me on my lonesome because you are working.
I am. I won't be here for next week, I'm afraid. But hopefully James will not be walking in the rain.
Oh, sure he will. It'll be his punishment for not being here this week.
That's our spring, folks. Just rain and more rain.
Yeah, welcome to the UK. Spring, summer.
Rain.
Winter. Or, yeah.
Rain.
Just rain. Just rain. That's what we do.
That's it.
But yeah, right. Let's head off. Thank you very much for joining us. Till next week, I have been Jason.
And I've been Ant.
And you have been listening to the Meeple Minded podcast. Join next week for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta and goodbye.